afternoon to each and everyone. On behalf of the Department of Computer Application, under the aegis of the Human Resource Development Center, Integral University, Lucknow. I, Dr. Nadia Parveen, Assistant Professor, extend a warm welcome to all participants to the 2 weeks blended faculty development program on transformative learning through interdisciplinary artificial intelligence and machine learning applications in emerging domains being held from 8 to 21st January 2026. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Hemalatha for evening session. As Dr. Hemalatha holds a DSc, PhD, and ME in computer science and has served in key academic leadership roles, including professor and head of the department. She has an outstanding research profile with more than 100 research publications in Scopus Index, SCI, and peer-reviewed international journals, and has presented numerous papers in national and international conferences. She is also actively involved in interdisciplinary and applied research, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, network security, IoT, robotics, and healthcare applications. Her contribution to research, teaching, and faculty mentoring make her an eminent academician and a valuable resource for this FDP. We again welcome DS Hemlata and look forward to an insightful and inspiring session. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You are already a presenter. You can access the share screen, and from there you will. We are able to share the presentation of you. Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible. Please start, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is not audible. Can you please check at your side?
Now it is audible, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Once you check me, my voice is audible and then screen is audible, visible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for your wonderful introduction about me. Today, the assigned topic to me is about ethical consideration, concern, and issues of AML in cybercrime. So before entering into the topic, let us know about few details about the related topic. The first one, we need to understand about what is cybercrime. So cybercrime refers to any illegal activity carried out using computer, digital devices, or the internet, where the technology is either the target or a tool or both for committing the crime. So for example, we could be able to say that a person receiving an email from the pretending from the bank and asking them to verify the account details. So whenever the victim enter that password and then OTP, the attacker steal the money from the account. That is the best one example for the cybercrime. The same another example, a fraudster call a user claiming that is from the customer support and ask them to approve the UPA request. Once we approve the UPA request, automatically money transferred to the attacker account. This kind of things and all will be the example for the cybercrime. And another things we need to understand about that what is artificial intelligence as well as what is machine learning. So artificial intelligence and machine learning are the technologies that enable the computer to think, learn and make the decisions similar to human. So artificial intelligence we can able to define that that is the ability to a machine or a computer system to perform a task that normally require a human intelligence. As well as the machine learning also we could able to define that is a subset of artificial intelligence that allow the system to learn automatically from data and improve the performance without being explicit programmed. Then we need to understand what is the role of artificial intelligence and machine learning in a cyber crime. So artificial intelligence and machine learning play a dual role in a cyber crime. First role, they are used by the criminals to carry out advanced crime, cyber attack. And then second one, they are used by the defenders to detect, prevent and respond to the cyber crimes. The next we need to understand the role of artificial intelligence and machine learning in committing of the cyber crime from the attacker side. For example, we could able to say that intelligent phishing attack, artificial intelligence generate the highly realistic phishing emails as well as the messages, and using the machine learning to personalize the attack based on the victim behavior. For example, artificial AI return email mimicking the bank or any kind of the official role. And another example from the attacker side, the malware or the ransomware of the automation, machine learning based malware adapt to antivirus systems. Then we can able to say that artificial intelligence select the best time, target, and method for attack. The small best example for that smart ransomware changing the encryption behavior. The third example, the password cracking or credential attack. The machine learning predict the password pattern from the leaked data. Or for faster brute force dictionary attack is also the example for the category. And deep fake or the identify fraud. AI create the fake voice, images, and videos which used financial fraud and fake interviews or blackmails. Then another side, the defender side, we need to understand the role of artificial intelligence, machine learning in preventing the cyber crimes. The intruder detections prevention system is the best example. They detect the abnormal network behavior and identify the zero-day attack also. The fraud detections, they analyze the transaction pattern as well as detect the suspicious bank UPI and then credit card frauds also. The third example, the malware directions, which will be identified with the support of the machine learning by using the behavior not in a signature. Also, we can able to detect the new and then unknown threats on this. The fourth example, the user behavior analytic, we can call it as a UBA. AI could able to learn the normal user activity and then which flag the insider threats and account any compromise has happened. And then next we need to enter into the topic. What is the ethical consideration, concern, issues of the artificial intelligence in cybercrime? The use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the cybercrime, which raises a serious ethical, legal, social concern because this technology can be misused, biased, and unaccountable if not properly governed. So the ethical considerations, what we should be done, we should be the responsible for using the internet related one, as well as we should be transparent of the policies and then accountability, then fairness. Then ethical concerns, what may go wrong in this? We can have the privacy violations, surveillances, or any kind of the overreach, or doing any bias, discriminations, and misuse by the cyber criminals. Then this topic is going to be in the table of content of five major things. We are going to see about the introductions. Then we are going to see about the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, machine learning in cybercrime, ethical foundation of AI/ML, and ethical consideration of the cybercrime preventions, and major ethical concerns. Then key issues and challenges we are going to discuss, and legal and regularity issues we are going to address. Then we come into the case studies, real world incidents happening on the cybercrime, and risk mitigations and best practices we are going to discuss, and future direction and research challenges will be given for the researchers. So first we'll take the first topic of the introduction. We are going to see about the overview about the cybercrime in a digital era and emergencies of artificial intelligence and machine learning, motivation for the ethical discussions. So when we come into the overview of the cyber criminals in a digital era, we need to understand about that what is cybercrime today. In a digital era, cybercrime has evolved from simple unauthorized access to complex data-driven and then intelligent attacks. So the cybercrime now includes financial fraud by using the UPA or crypto scams and identifying the theft and the impersonation and then ransomware and the extortions and the cyber impersonation and then cyber terrorism attacks on the critical infrastructure. We can able to say that healthcare and then power transportation attack also the example for the few. Then why cybercrime is increasing rapidly? We are making the transaction in a digital transformations. Okay, so the digital transformations for that we are using the cloud computing, mobile payment, IoT, smart systems. So when we are doing this kind of things, automatically we are subject to the data exposure. So the massive of the personal and the behavior of the data will be available online. And then the data is a new target. So the low entry battery for the attackers. So cybercrime as a services and ready-made hack tools are used for making the cyber crimes rapidly. And then weak cyber awareness. The human or subject to error only, but we are not aware about that what category of the cyber attack could be there in our account. Then we can shift into the nature of the cybercrime. We can see compared with that earlier cybercrime as well as to the modern cybercrime. So the in the earlier cybercrime and all they are using the manual hacking. But in modern cybercrime by using the artificial intelligence and machine learning, they make it as the cybercrime is an automated attack. And then in the earlier cybercrimes, the individual hacker will be there. But here, the modern cybercrimes, the organization of the organized as a cybercrime as a group of people will be involved with the support of the artificial intelligence and machine learning concept. They are making the many kind of the cybercrimes. Then in the earlier cybercrimes, if we see that the limited impact only because they could not able to target on the many customers or many people. Whereas in a modern cybercrime, with the concept of using the many algorithms, they are using the mass scale damages. And earlier cybercrime and all the rule based attack. Here, if you see the modern cybercrime and all AI driven adaptive attacks. The next we need to understand the emergency of the artificial intelligence and then machine learning. So what changes with the artificial intelligence machine learning, which says that the AML have transformed the cyber system by enabling the learn from data, pattern recognitions, and predictive decision making and autonomous actions. So in a cyber security, the artificial intelligence and machine learning are used to detect the intrusions and identifying the anomalies and predict the threats on the automated responses. Then the AML can be act as a double-edged word. We have to say that. So AI does not have a morals, but it only follow the objectives set by the humans. If the human is a criminals or he like to make any kind of cyber threats, means the AI could be make as a cyber threats vulnerable. If the human is a detectors or the preventers, for that they are using means then there's a AML algorithms could be the preventive algorithms. So we can able to say that which is used by the defender means then it could be supported with the support of the intruder detection system, fraud detection systems in a bank and malware behavior analysis, user behavior analysis, etc. Suppose which AML is used by the attacker means that could be AI generated phishing emails and deepfake audio video fraud and smart malware for aegis detections and automated vulnerabilities or the few example used by the AML by the attackers. And a few example we can able to say that phishing emails written by the human that could be obvious errors. Normally we are composing any mail means the grammatical error will be there, spelling mistakes will be there, some kind of misusing words will be there. Suppose the phishing email is generated by the artificial intelligence means the algorithms will be used by the perfect grammar. So it will be having the perfect grammar in this, and then any it will be having the mimic official tones will be there, and then the personalized content will be there, and then adapt based on the victim response also will be there. So that could be used for dramatically increasing the success rate of the cyber crimes on the digital era. And why ML is especially dangerous to a cybercrime, which learn from the user behavior. So adapt to the defense that the user behavior will be adapt to the defense mechanisms. Also, the user behavior which evolve faster than the user human defender, and then which will be supported for scale the attack automatically. So that only we can able to make the huge number of targeted victims by using the machine learning. So we are no longer fighting the attack, but we are fighting with the intelligence systems. The next we need to understand the motivation for the ethical discussions. When you see the motivation for the ethical discussions, we need to see why ethics is a crucial now. So the power of AML introduced is a serious ethical dilemma. So who control the artificial intelligence decisions and who is responsible for the AI cause harm and how much surveillance is accessible can we sacrifice the privacy for the security. So we need to see about all the things in this section. Then second section we need to see about the fundamentals of artificial intelligence and the machine learning in a cybercrime. In this introduction, we have seen about that why cybercrime has evolved. Now let us understand that how AML and actually operate with the cybercrime in a both offensively and then defensively. So here in this section we are going to see about the role of AML in cyber attack and role of AML in cyber defense, and then the dual use of natural artificial intelligence technology. So when you see about the role of artificial intelligence machine learning in a cyber attack, we have to see about how cyber criminals use the artificial intelligence and the machine learning. So the AML enables the cyber crime to automate the attack and the scale the operations of the automations and then adapt to the defense and increasing the success rate. So the modern crimes is no longer manual, it is intelligence as well as the adaptive also. The major AML driven cyber attacks or the intelligent phishing, social engineering attacks, AI generated human like emails or messages, which has learned from the victim behavior and then personalized content based on the scrapped data. For example, we can able to say that artificial intelligence craft phishing emails, which shows that no grammatical mistake and then context aware content and then emotional triggering languages that could be the example for making the any kind of the phishing mail attacks. And then second one, artificial intelligence powered malware and then ransomware. The malware are used to a machine language to detect the sandbox environment and avoid the antivirus detections, also which support for changing the behavior dynamically. So the traditional malwares which follows the rule, but artificial intelligence malwares which learn the rules and then about the targeted victim behaviors and then evolve the rules. The next we need to understand about the role of artificial intelligence in a cyber defense, the defender on the defender's perspective. The same intelligence that power to the crime is also power to the defense also because the intelligence is available both to the criminal side as well as to the defender side. So the how artificial intelligence machine learning strengthening the cyber defense with the support of the intruder directions and then intruder prevention systems, the machine learning detect the abnormal network behavior as well as identifying the unknowing attack patterns. Then the AML is also support for the fraud detection system also. So artificial intelligence which monitor the transaction pattern and then login locations, behavior biometrics. This kind of informations will be supported for the defender side to prevent the cyber criminal attacks. Then if we see the malware detections which are based on the behavior analysis and then detect the new malware without any signatures, and then the user and the entity behavior analysis which normal user activity and flag inside the threads and compromise the accounts. This and all could be the malware detections. So this kind of things will be done by the automated incident response by the support of the artificial intelligence triggers. So what the triggers will do, it account will be locked down and the network should be isolation, and then which will make the alert and the remediation for the client side. Then we need to see about the dual use of nature of artificial intelligence technology. So what is dual use? Dual use means that the same of artificial intelligence technology can be used for beneficial as well as the harmful purpose. So we need to see about what kind of beneficials based on the artificial intelligence capable, which is used by the attacker, whereas in the defender side, which is used by the defender. And then based on the pattern recognitions which identify the victims and then which detect the anomalies on the defender sides, and based on the automatizations which is mass attack, and then defender side the fast response should be there, and then based on the predictions it will be having the attack timing, but in the defender side it will be having the threat forecasting, and based on the natural languages which will be the phishing attacks, and then on the defender side it will be the SOC tools. So since artificial intelligence can both protect and attack, the real challenges lies how we can govern it use the ethically. This brings the ethical foundations and then principles that must guide the AML in a cybercrime. Then third section we need to see about the ethical foundations in artificial intelligence machine learning. So here we are going to see discuss about the principles of ethical artificial intelligence, and then the fairness, human in loop decision making, and responsive of artificial intelligence governance. So first we'll see about the principles of ethical AI. We have to see about the four things on this: the fairness, and then accountability, and then transparency, and then explainability. So we have seen that artificial intelligence can act both as a weapon, as a shield. Therefore, ethic is not a optional; it is a foundational. So first we see if we see the principle of ethical in artificial intelligence, what is comes the fairness. So what is fairness? AI must be treat all the users equally and then avoid the discriminations based on the gender, region, and then social economic status, digital behavior patterns. Then next comes the ethical risk on the cybercrime context, which bias based on the data set. It can be flag certain user more than often and targeted specific on the geometric reasons. And then innocent users may be labeled as a suspicious. If the fraud detection data is good towards the certain demography, AI may be unfairly block the transaction from those groups. Then the next thing is ethical one means the accountability. So what is accountability means the clear responsible for the artificial intelligence decision, which says about the human or not a machines or not, whatever it could be the accountable. The third one is about the accountability challenges. AI system act autonomously, so which will not see about the normal user or the abnormal user or a human, whatever it could be. So it is difficult to assign blame when AI block the accounts, AI misclassify the behavior, AI cause the financial losses. Then comes the third kind of ethics is called as a transparency. So what is transparency means that the user should know that AI being used, and then what data is collected, and then how the decisions are made on a use higher level. And the next one is we have to see about the ethics is about cyber security concerns. The block box system, which means that which reduce the trust and complicated investigations and challenge the legal compliances. Then last one is about the expandability. Expandability, which means that will be comes into the artificial AA, which is called as a explainable AA. So what is the explainable AA? With the ability to explain the AA decision in a human understandable terms. So which is crucial for when we are seeing about the law enforcement, financial fraud, and the legal dispute. So the expandability problem will comes arises when you are using the deep learning model or when you are using the deep learning model which are complex to make the expandable AI as well as which is difficult to justify the decision in the court. The next we need to see about the human in the loop decision making. So what is human in the loop decision making? A system designed where AI is assisted to the decision. So human reviews, override, and then approve the critical actions. So why the human in loop is essential for the cybercrime? AI can make the mistake. The cybercrime decisions can be affected to the freedom, finance, as well as to the reputations also. So the next thing is the responsibility of the AI in a governance. So the framework of the artificial intelligence governance should be having the good policies and then the better standards and then the rigid regulations and then ethical guidelines that control how the AI will be developed as well as the deployed. The component of the responsible AI governance, which will be having the four major component in this. The first one could be the ethical by design. So which combines the ethical embedded at the design stage itself, not added after the deployment. And the second one which has to be how the data governance, a lawful data collections and then consent, privacy, protections, everything, secure data storage. This governance should be there for the artificial intelligence responsible. And then the modern governance, regular audit, and then bias testing, performance monitoring should be there on the artificial intelligence governance. And then legal complication. Legal complication means what? Which is aligned with the IT Act as well as the data protections, everything. Then we need to conclude about that even with the ethical foundations, the artificial intelligence system still raises the serious concern when deploying at the scale. So the next section we will examine about the major ethical concerns surrounded by the artificial intelligence machine learning in cybercrime. So the ethical consideration of the cybercrime preventions we need to discuss. While artificial intelligence and machine learning are powerful tools for preventing the cybercrime, they use the raises critical ethical questions, especially when prevention mechanisms directly affect the citizens' privacy rights and then freedoms. So we need to understand about the artificial intelligence driven the surveillances versus the privacy rights, data collections and then consent ownerships, and then explainable AI in a cybersecurity decisions, bias mitigations in a security analysis. So artificial intelligence surveillances in the privacy rights, the core of the ethical tensions we need to take into the account in this. So AI-based cybercrime preventions, which relies heavily on the continuous monitoring as well as on the behavior analysis. The pattern tracking across the digital platform is also the one of the point on the core ethical tensions. This creates the fundamental conflict between the security needs as well as the individual privacy rights. The AI surveillance in a practice, a system, the artificial intelligence system should monitor the network traffic frequently, and then email and then messages of both the metadata, and then as to see about the login behavior and locations and device fingerprints. Then the next point we need to understand about the data collections, consent, and then ownership. So what is data in centralized to the artificial intelligence? AML is the system record the large volume of data as well as the behavior and then transaction records. This historical records could be the tool or incident for the cyber to make the cybercrime activities. So the ethical challenges in data collections, we need to see about the consent often implicate and then not explicit, and user may not be understand what data is collected, how it is used, and then how long that could be used by the others. And data ownership is the key ethical questions. Who is own the data? Whether it's a user or any organization is going to own the data. Otherwise, the user generated data, they are manipulated by the others or a group of people, or the organization is using the data for storing and then analyzing it, and the government may request to access the data. Then a data misuse disk, we need to see about the collection for the security. So we can able to reuse it for proof filling and then commercial gain and then surveillances beyond the original purposes. Then next come into the explainable AI in a cyber security decisions. So why the explainability matter is in a preventions. Artificial intelligence systems often block transactions and then which also used for freeze the account and then flag individuals as suspicious. These decisions can have the financial consequences and the legal implications and the reputational damages. The benefit of using the explainable AI, the builders can trust the user as well as which enable the legal compliances and then support for the human review which reduce the blind automations. The bias mitigation in a security algorithms, we need to understand about the bias in a security of artificial intelligence. The bias enter the artificial intelligence through the skewed trained data and then historical inequality, incomplete data sets. Then comes to how the bias are manifest. Certainly, the regional are flagged more frequently means that cases the bias are manifest. And certain user behavior are misinterpreted means those cases will be supported for manipulating manifesting the bias. And then the legitimate user treated as a threat means that time also the bias will be manifest. So even when prevent the mechanisms or well intentions, a serious ethical constraint is remained. In the next section, we will explore about the major ethical constraints and risk arises from the artificial intelligence and machine learning criminals. So, in the fifth section, we need to concentrate about the major ethical considerations. So, even when the artificial intelligence are deployed with a good intentions, that raises the serious ethical concerns that can affect the individuals, institutions, or society at a large scale. So, we need to see about the privacy on invasions and then data misuse and mass surveillances and the civil liberties, algorithm bias and discriminations and automation of the decision making risk. So first we'll see about the privacy invasions in and data misuse. The nature of consent, artificial intelligence based cybercrime system will be depends on the continuous data collections and the behavior proof profiling and cross platform data integration. This also lead to unauthorized access to the personal data and then excessive data retentions and secondary use of the data beyond the original intent. Then which will be formed for the privacy inventions by monitoring the email and then messages about the metadata and tracking the online behavior, devices fingerprint, collecting the locations and biometric data. So when the data misuse of the risk will be arises, the data collected from the security that can be reused for the profiling are sold to the third parties are shared without consent about the users. Those cases, the misuse risk will be arises. Then mass surveillances and then civil liberties from the targeted monitoring to the mass surveillances, artificial intelligence enabled the large scale monitoring and automated behavior analysis and predictive surveillances. When the effective from the crime preventions it risk is normalize the concerned surveillances as well as treat all the citizens as a subset. The threats to the civil liberties, which has freedom from the expressions and then right to privacy and then freedom from the associations. The need for the proportionality, the ethical surveillances must be in a lawful, necessary, and proportionate and time bounded. Then come to see about the algorithm biases and then discriminations, where the source of the algorithm biases will be there. The bias enter in a AI system through the historical data reflecting inequality and non-representative of the data set and developer assumption. How bias affect the cybercrime prevention? Certain user flag more frequently, financial transactions block unfairly, and reputational damages to the innocent individuals. Then comes to the ethical implications, that discrimination without the transparency, which also causes for the ethical implications, and reinforcement of the social inequality is also make a major role for the ethical implications, and loss of faith in your artificial intelligence systems. Then come to the automations of the decision making risk. The risk of automation in decision making nowadays, artificial systems will have the block accounts and then deny transaction, trigger legal and then disciplinary actions, often which could, without human interventions, this could be done. So ethical risk for the full automations, which will give the false positive, no appeal mechanisms, and lack of empathy or context. So, beyond the ethical concern, the artificial intelligence and machine learning is a cybercrime. Also present the deep ethical and the legal challenges. The next section we will examine about the key issues and challenges which involving in deploying the artificial intelligence in a responsible. So when you come into the section 6, the key issues and challenges, even with the ethical principles and the governance framework of artificial intelligence and machine learning in a cybercrime faces a serious practical and then technical challenges that cannot be ignored. So we need to discuss about the four major things here. The misuse of the artificial intelligence machine learning by the cyber criminals. And the next things we need to understand about the deep fake and then intelligence phishing, social engineering, then adversarial machine learning attacks and false positive system errors. So the misuse of the artificial intelligence machine learning by the cyber criminals, the nature of use will be the artificial intelligence machine learning tools only. So the tools are widely available. And then if you see the cost of the tools is also the low cost. And then this will be make you the people to misuse the artificial intelligence machine learning algorithms. So the cyber criminals will exploit the open source AI models and automation platform and cloud-based computations. So what kind of forms could be there for misusing the AML? The AI generated the phishing. So automatically, which will be vulnerable to scanning. Even a smart malware or efficient technique also will be supported to AI to make any kind of the vulnerable or cyber crimes. The large scale fraud also can be done by using the misusing of AI and ML algorithms. So the ethical and the security challenges, if you see about that, the still the research or intended for defining can be the weaponized one, the which is difficulty to control the discrimination of the AI tools. So academic responsibilities, ethical disclosure of the research, and then teaching responsibilities how to use the artificial intelligence, which will be preventing the dual use of the exploration. When we see about the deep fake and then intelligent phishing and then social engineering, why these all the critical threats, the AI excels at language generations. It can be able to generate any kind of the text, any kind of formations, any kind of algorithms, everything. And then the image as well as the voice synthetics also nowadays the AI could be able to generate it. And then the behavior mimicry also could be done. So with this capability, they directly enable the deception based on the crimes. So what is deepfake? They generate the fake videos and then fake voice call and then fake images which are used for the financial fraud and then political manipulations and then any kind of the blackmails. The best example, the AI generate the CEO voice which instructing the employee to transfer the fund. Automatically the what the employees did, they transfer the fund to the respective account. So this is the one example for the manipulated voice which is made by the artificial intelligence that will make to transfer the amount with the support of the cyber crimes. Then intelligent phishing is the best one is the context our emails and then personalized contacts and then adaptive messages. The best example, the phishing is no longer about the poor grammar. It's about the psychological phishing. When we see some kind of emails come in our inbox also, we could able to detect that some kind of messages which will be affecting us psychologically. So automatically what happens, we are believing the informations and then doing whatever they need for the sake. Then social engineering at the scale or AI studies the victim behavior and then identifying the emotional triggers and then automated the manipulations. The challenges for the defense human trust the realistic content and then detect becomes increasingly difficult. Then what is the advisory for the machine learning attacks? The attack is designed to manipulate the AI models, which exploit the model weakness and then causes the misclassification. Then what are the advisable attack? There are few kind of the advisable attack. The first one is about the evasion attack with slight modification to the input. They are not fabricating the whole. Some kind of slight modification could be done. And then the malware bypass the deductions. Then another category of the attack is called as a phishing attack, which corrupting the training data and introducing the false pattern. And third category is called as a model inversions and then stealing, which support for extracting the sensitive model informations as well as replicating the proprietary models. Then next we need to understand about the false positive and then system errors. Understanding the false positive when it could be occur, the legitimate behavior is flagged as a malicious. So why they matters for the false positive? What they will do? The financial loss and then service disturbed and the reputational harms and then loss of user threats. This and that. So the best example for that, the legitimate user transactions is blocked during the emergencies. So beyond the technological challenges, these issues also raises a serious legal as well as the regulatory questions. The next section we will explore the legal and then regulatory issues surrounded by the artificial intelligence, machine learning, cyber crimes. So when you see about the section 7, we are going to discuss about the legal and then the regularity issues. Here we are going to discuss about the gaps in existing cyber laws and accountability and liability of artificial intelligence systems, artificial intelligence cybercrime under the Indian Act, and then global regularity perspectives. So first we'll see about the what is the gap existing on the cyber law. The ethic guides what should be done, but law determines that what must be done. So unfortunately, the AI cyber crimes in advance faster than in our legal systems. So that only nowadays many new kind of the cyber crimes we are facing in a day-to-day life. So why cyber crime laws are insufficient? Most cyber laws are drafted when the crime was human driven. So not automation was limited and then AI decision making does not exist on this. So what is the legal gap? There is no clear definition of the AI crimes. The law focus on the person and but not on their devices. And then AI systems not a legal entities. Which lack and the legislations. So automatically they evolve rapidly. The law takes year to amend. The jurisdiction issues which says about that AI-driven attack or cross national borders, it is difficult to identify the attacker location also. So the evidence and then attributes and AI-generated attack is hard to trace, difficult to proving the intended user also. The next we need to understand about the accountability and then liability of the artificial intelligence system. The core legal questions we need to see about that who is responsible for the artificial intelligence, any crimes or any causes arises. So possible actor responsible for the artificial intelligence related causes and all, the artificial intelligence developer. and then the organization who is deploying the artificial intelligence, and then the data provider who is supporting for developing the artificial intelligence. Last comes the human operator. So the accountability challenges when you see that artificial intelligence are learned and evolved. So the decision making may not explicitly programmed. So the black box model is complicated, blamed on the assignments. So the best example we can able to see that if AI fraud detected systems wrongly, freezed the thousands of attacks. So it is a software bug or it is a big data issues, bias issues or the deployment failed. We could not able to detect that which kind of wrong in this. And then legal dilemma. So artificial intelligence cannot be punished. The responsibility must be rest with the humans or the institutions. So emergency legal thinking, the human or command principles, which are mandatory for the audit, artificial intelligence audit, and then clear accountability chains. They next come into the artificial intelligence and cybercrime under the Indian IT Act. The India does not have any dedicated AI law, but AI law is related to the cybercrimes addressed through the Indian Information Act of 2000, which is called as the IT Act 2000, and then Indian Panel Code, which is called as the IPC section, and then data protection regularities. So these three dedicated AI laws and all will be comes under in these three sections only. Then the global regularity perspective. So why the global regularity perspective is needed? The cyber crime is a cross border. We could not able to determine that the crime has happened inside the India or the Now voice is audible. Now voice is audible, sir. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible and your screen is visible. Please
Screen is
continue,
visible.
ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
What was the last PPT when I was disconnected? Now I am in section 9.
Yeah, ma'am. Just
Shall I continue or go to the previous slides and then start
ma'am,
from the
just
previous?
give me a second, ma'am. Give me a second, ma'am. Ma'am, you are at the 7th section when the meeting has been disconnected.
Okay. All right.
Cybercrime under the Indian IT Act. After that, 7.4, maybe most probably.
Now seventh part is visible, sir. Seventh section is visible, sir. PPT is
Yes, ma'am.
visible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So beyond the technical challenges, the issues arises serious legal and then the regularity questions. The next section we need to see about the legal and then regularity issues which are surrounded by the artificial intelligence, machine learning in cybercrime. So we need to see about the legal and regularity issues, what gaps existing on the cyber law and who are the accountable liable for the artificial intelligence systems and the AI and cybercrime under the Indian Act, why the global regularity perspective is needed. So when you see about the gaps in the existing cyber law, the ethic guides that what should be done, but law determines that what must be done. So unfortunately, AA in cybercrime in advancing faster than in our legal systems, because whenever any crimes happens, then alone we are making the rules or the regulations. So automatically the another crime will be happen. So one by each and every new crime faces the legal issues and the regularities are framed in this. So why the current cyber laws are insufficient on this? The cyber law were drafted when the crime was a human driven. If it is a machine also, then any cyber crime is we cannot able to claim it. And then which automatizations was limited one. And then AI decision making does not exist on this. So, where the key legal gaps arises, there is no clear definition on the AI crimes. The law focus on the persons and devices. AI systems are not a legal entities. And then the lag between the technology and the legislations. AI evolves rapidly. The law takes a year to amend. When we see the jurisdiction issue also, the AI-driven attacks cross the national borders. It's difficult to identify the attackers as well as the location of the attacker also. And then the evidence as well as the attributions, AI actions are not hard to trace. It's difficult to proving the intent. When you see about the accountability and the liability of the artificial intelligence systems, the core legal question is who is responsible when an artificial intelligence causes the harm. So the possibly the actors or the AI developers are the any organization deploying that developed AI or the data provided for the AI and then human operators. Those people only is responsible for any AI related cyber crimes has happened. Then accountability challenges when AI learned and evolved, the decision making may not be explicitly programmed. So which could be under block box model only. Inside what is happening and all we cannot able to go do understand in this, which complicate blame the assignments. For example, AI fraud detection systems wrongly freeze the thousands of accounts. Such a kind of things we could not able to classify that whether it is a software bug or a data bias issues or any deployment failure. Then legal dilemma, we need to see AI cannot be punished. The responsibility must trust with the humans or the institutions. Emergency legal thinking, the human is a command principles which are mandatory for artificial intelligence audit and clear accountability chains. The next come into the artificial intelligence cybercrime under the Indian Act, IT Act. The India does not have any dedicated AI law, but AI related to crime is addressed through the Information Technology Act of 2000, in short, which is called as the IT Act 2000, as well as the Indian Penal Code IPC section, and then data protections under regularities. So any cyber crimes happens automatically the regularity will be framed under any of these sections only. Global regularity perspective. Why the global regularity perspective which are matter into the artificial intelligence crime? The crime is a cross border. It could be happen in anywhere. Okay. As well as the AI system operated in a globally. So Indian Institute collaborate internationally so that the general data production regularity is needed. So this general data production regularity is aligned with the European countries. Those key and ethical preventions which will be having right to privacy, right to explanations, and restricted to automated decision making and strong consent requirements. So the legal framework are evolving, but law alone not enough for that. The next section we will see about the real world case studies and incidents to understand how these ethical and legal issues play out in practice. When you see about the case studies or real world incidents, the ethical concerns are not theoretical. They are already affecting any organizations or government or individually. So we need to see about AI generated deepfake fraud cases and AI failures in cybersecurity systems and then ethical lessons from the report incidents. So we'll see some cases related to AI generated deepfake fraud cases. The first case is about the voice scam. So CEO fraud. The criminals uses the AI to clone the CEO voice. So the voice spreaded